Hiya there, it's HYZ Marie here, and today I'm getting into Monster Week. If you're unfamiliar with Monster Week, it's an annual event created by YouTubers Pointy Hat and Ginny, where YouTubers join up to make tabletop RPG content related to a specific Dungeons & Dragons monster. And as this year's theme is dragons, and it's open to anyone, I decided to join. I mean, come on, I literally present myself as a dragon online. I love D&D, and I'm a YouTuber, albeit a pretty small one, so I figured why not. So today I'm going to put Wings of Fire dragons into D&D, and much like Pointy Hat does, I'll be giving y'all some free homemade D&D content, specifically a fresh new set of 10 player races. At least, I was going to do that, and then realized I bit off more than I could chew. So 7 it is. Guess we're forgetting the pantalan tribes. I'll have the statistics needed to play with them on screen at times throughout the video, and I'll timestamp when they appear in the description for a quick and easy screenshot. So without further ado, let's jump right in. These player races are something I like to call tribal dragons. They come from one of 10 tribes, and each tribe is tied to a specific habitat. Like true dragons, they have a strong connection to magic, but unlike them, it manifests as a connection to nature, specifically in the place where they were hatched. A tribal dragon hatched in a certain habitat always becomes a member of the tribe that belongs to that area, which has led over the years to many conflicts, including ones where tribal dragons steal eggs from their rivals to grow their own numbers. These creatures are usually very loyal to their tribes and live in close-knit communities like humanoids instead of being solitary like other dragons. They also almost exclusively have matriarchal societies ruled by queens. It is said that a ritual performed in the right habitat can change a tribal dragon from one type into another, but this ritual is difficult, known to very few, and must be performed at a place of strong divine magic, if it even exists. So, there's a little plot hook for you. These dragons tend to live in desolate places, far from other civilizations. But as humanoids have continued to explore the world, tribal dragons have been known to have some contact with these explorers, and even to decide to go adventuring themselves. So let's meet these new dragon types. There are 10 types of tribal dragons. IcePeak, belonging to frozen glaciers and tundras, DuneTail, belonging to arid deserts, SkyBreath, belonging to mountain peaks, SwampDeep, belonging to muddy mires, SeaGlow, belonging to the ocean, BrightScale, belonging to rainforests, ThoughtSight, belonging to the Underdark, Webspin, belonging to areas of fey magic, Hivemind, belonging to open plains, and finally the Leaf Life dragons, belonging to forests. Despite their many differences, all tribal dragons have a few things in common. They're all usually about the size of a large dog, and despite the fact that they all walk on 4 legs, their front talons are as dexterous as hands, allowing them to manipulate objects much like humanoids do. Despite having wings, most tribal dragons can't fly, or at least can't fly long distances. Some scholars think they were cursed somehow to lose their flight, while others believe they just don't need to fly very far, and because of that, eventually lost the ability in order to conserve energy. Our first tribe, IcePeak dragons, live in frozen wastelands from tundras to glaciers. They have a strict and rigid society that values rules, and places every dragon in a specific hierarchy so that everyone knows exactly where they land in the rankings. Usually this hierarchy is based on merit in battle, but other factors like parentage matter as well. IcePeak dragons value military might and look down on other tribes. IcePeak dragons come in shades of pale white, silver, or blue, sometimes with darker blue markings. They have long, icicle-like spikes along their spines, which form thick clusters at their necks and tails, and they can exhale a deadly freezing mist. Their claws are serrated to grip ice, which also makes their claw strikes particularly vicious. They're cold to the touch, and for reasons unknown to scholars, their blood is blue instead of red. As far as abilities, they get a breath weapon, improved unarmed strike, and resistance to cold damage. Hailing from the desert, DuneTail dragons live in communities that tend to not follow rules as strictly as some others. Stealing and scavenging is often fair game for these creatures, who are willing to do whatever they must to take advantage of the few resources the desert does offer them. Most of the time, they camp around oases or build their towns there, then forage, scavenge, or raid the surrounding area for anything that might help them survive, including eggs from other dragon tribes. DuneTail dragons have black eyes and scales in shades of pale yellow or beige, sometimes with black or brown markings. They have large frills along their spines which allow them to let off excess heat. The most important detail of a DuneTail dragon's appearance, though, is the scorpion-like barb at the end of their tail, which can deliver a stinging venom. For abilities, they get a fire breath weapon, an unarmed strike that deals poison damage from their barbed tail, and they don't need as much food or water as they normally would. Making their homes in tall mountain peaks, SkyBreath dragons are masters of the air, the only tribal dragons able to fly long distances effortlessly. Some speculate they may be related to red dragons, with their similar coloration and their connection to mountains and fire. SkyBreath dragons are very warlike, training their military forces tirelessly and often participating in gladiatorial games just for fun. SkyBreath dragons are usually orange or red, but shades of pink, copper, yellow, or peach have been known to occur on occasion. They have much larger wings than most tribal dragons, made for long-distance flying, and slider builds which are easier to keep aloft for extended periods of time. Other than that, they look fairly basic and even might be the sort of default for a tribal dragon, although nobody's entirely sure if that last theory is true or not. For abilities, SkyBreath dragons get a flying speed and a fiery breath weapon. Nothing else though, because flying is pretty powerful as it is. Found burrowing in muddy mires, SwampDeep dragons are usually pretty chill unless they're provoked. These creatures live in tightly bonded sibling groups, where the oldest and largest is the leader. Unlike with most other tribal dragons, these leaders might be male, although the political rulers are still always female. SwampDeep dragons are ambush predators, leading to the misconception that they're lazy when they're really just good at conserving energy. They do tend to have a little bit more brawn than brains though. SwampDeep dragons are heavy and bulky, with broad snouts and tails and thickly armored scales. Though they do have fire, it's much weaker than that of other fire-breathing tribes. SwampDeep dragons come in shades of brown, but this can sometimes include more vibrant oranges or reds. They can also hold their breath for pretty long periods of time, which makes them excellent at hiding just under the mud, then striking at the perfect time. Abilities-wise, SwampDeep dragons get the Firebolt cantrip, can hold their breath for up to an hour, have a swimming speed, and get a bonus to their armor class. The fifth type of tribal dragons are the SeaGlow dragons, who live deep under ocean waves. They're more peaceful than many other tribal dragons, as they haven't historically needed to defend themselves as much. After all, not everyone can just hide out underwater when threatened. Their aquatic homes are places of rare beauty, and sorcerers and other magic users are more common among SeaGlow dragons than most other tribes, with sorcerer blood actually part of the royal family. SeaGlow dragons are generally blue or green, but purple or gray scales have been seen sometimes, as well as pink accents on their fins. They have fins running along their spines, webbed talons for swimming, and several sets of gill flaps on their necks. SeaGlow dragons, per their name, can glow, able to light up specialized patches of scales to see better underwater or to signal each other. SeaGlow dragons get water breathing, a swimming speed, the light cantrip for their glow scales, an extra language that they can speak using these scales, and dark vision. One of the most peaceful and beautiful tribes, BrightScale dragons live in lush rainforests and don't generally care for fighting. In fact, most are vegetarians. Despite their peaceful nature, these dragons are among the best at stealth, so other tribes often actually steal BrightScale hatchlings to train them for assassin work. Most of the time though, they're happy to live in their rainforest, enjoying the verdant plant life and all the natural resources they have access to. BrightScale dragons have scales in any color under the sun, and can even change the color of their scales. They have prehensile tails for hanging from trees, and large frills by their ears that allow them to emote more clearly. In what might be a twist of irony, members of this peaceful tribe possess long fangs that can shoot a deadly venom. They tend to be pretty small to easily fit in the narrow spaces between trees. BrightScale dragons have prehensile tails that work somewhat like a Loxodon's trunk, the Acid Splash cantrip, and the ability to use a bonus action to either hide with their camouflage scales or change color to disguise themselves as another dragon. The most mysterious tribe, ThoughtSight dragons, live in the Underdark, a place of darkness, mystery, and magic. Like many Underdark creatures, ThoughtSight dragons have psychic abilities, which they've historically used to manipulate other creatures and even fate itself to fit their wills. They value knowledge above all, no matter what it takes to achieve that end. ThoughtSight dragons are always black, although they can have undertones of blue, purple, green, or even red. Silver scales like stars in the night sky adorn the undersides of their wings. As far as abilities, ThoughtSight dragons have dark vision, fire breath, and telepathy. At higher levels, they unlock a free casting of augury, a spell which lets them more or less look into the future. And that's all of the tribal dragons. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. It was really fun to get to participate in Monster Week, though I kinda had to hustle this video out, because I left it to the last minute. And I really enjoyed putting all the Wings of Fire tribes into D&D for this, and trying to make them fit better into that sort of setting. Plus, the mechanics were pretty fun to tinker around with and figure out. There were 3 other tribes I planned to make for this video, but didn't get around to because there just wasn't enough time. So if you want to see those in another video, just let me know. Be sure to check out the other Monster Week videos people posted this week for more D&D Dragon content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now!